Hey everybody, it's Steph. So I'm back to using my little webcam here because I'm just it's just a lot easier. So in this particular vlog, I just want to talk about the new MacBook Pro and the rumors of the MacBook Pro. This is something that's long overdue. They being Apple, they're really falling behind in terms of their hardware, their computer hardware. You know, Mac, I think, is only responsible for 15 to 20% of their revenue. So I guess you can understand how they are not super keen on updating that versus the iPhone, which is about 50+% of their revenue. Nonetheless, it's kind of disappointing that they have not been keeping up with the rest of the community. If you look at the latest Windows machines, they're in terms of their guts, in terms of their CPU and I think their hard drives as well, they're 1 to 2 generations ahead of the latest Mac hardware, which is kind of a shame. Another thing that's kind of, lame is that if you look at some of these, not some, all of these latest Windows machines out there, I have the Surface Pro 4, which is the tablet slash computer hybrid that Microsoft put out. And it's really innovative in terms of its form factor, the Surface Pro 4, and it's really innovative in terms of its use. It's a tablet and it's a computer, and it works very well overall. Don't get me wrong, there are things about Windows I go, ah, like Windows feels like a much more modern operating system than Mac OS today, but it still has its quirks every now and then. That said, I've had it for many months now, my Surface Pro 4 from Microsoft, and I've been using Windows 10 since it's pretty much launched. And I've had one hard reboot requirement in the last like 5 months. That's pretty much it. Other than that, sometimes, once in a while, it gets a little wonky. Once in a while, for some reason, the touchscreen just doesn't respond well, and then you stick on the keyboard because the keyboard's optional. You can just pop it on, put it on, and then all of a sudden it works fine. So it's just kind of those little quirks that really just get on your nerves after a while. And it's funny, Windows is always updating itself, so you may have, like, for 2 months, the touch screen. At one point, the touch screen was a dream. It was a dream. It was working perfectly. It was like, no problem. Now it's like, you never know, what's going to happen. So that's the problem with Windows. It has some really cool capabilities, but in typical Windows fashion, it's flaky. It's a little bit flaky, although not painfully flaky like the previous versions of Windows, but nonetheless, with Mac OS, it seems like a much more solid OS, but it's getting a little long in the tooth. It's hard to describe if you use Mac OS versus Windows 10, and you use them and you compare them side by side. You start to see what I mean. You would anyway start to see how OS 10 is looking kind of old, and their hardware is old, and so we are all waiting. People own Macs as well. I own Mac and I do Windows. I do both because for my work it's good to have both. And the the rumors coming out is that they're going to do some interesting things with the new MacBook Pro, which could be out in September, it could be out in October, who knows? All rumors right now. And one of the rumors is that it's going to have kind of like a LCD built into the top of the keyboard so that you can have dynamic keys, would be like a touchscreen there. It's kind of weird that Apple doesn't want to put touchscreens on their main laptops when everybody's doing it. And you may be saying to yourself, well, who needs a touchscreen on a laptop? And I have to tell you, I would have thought that too until you have one. And I may only use it 10% of the time, but it's just kind of convenient sometimes to be able to reach up to your screen and go and move things around like that. Just move a window, dock a window, start an app. It's sometimes just much more convenient than using the mouse and or keyboard shortcuts and whatnot. So anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop into a screencast where we're going to just look at an article I found where they have some conceptual images of what the new MacBook Pro is going to look like. Essentially, at the top, it's going to have an LCD screen. They're going to go to USB-C, which is a new connector type, and it's going to be thinner, faster, and so on. Who knows? But that's it. I have a 4-year-old MacBook Pro Retina. It's still working pretty good, but it's starting to get a little long in the tooth when I'm editing video. It can start to chug, especially if it's warm in the room. But it's still a great computer. The battery needs to be replaced, so I have to basically keep it on the charge all the time. And I don't feel like replacing the battery because it's going to cost me about $250 up here in Canada. And so I'm waiting for the new MacBook Pros to come out. I'm going to upgrade, and then I'm going to drop, I'll sell the old MacBook. That's the one advantage about the Macs, by the way. Whether it be iPhone or Macs, there's a high resale value. So even though my MacBook Pro is 4 years old and needs a new battery, it is likely I'll be able to get $800-900 for it because it's not beaten up. I keep good care of my machines. And it's worth it to a lot of people. Instead of spending $2,500 on the equivalent MacBook Pro today or $2,000, they'll spend $800-900 with me, and they'll save a lot of money. So it's keep that in mind. So when you're pricing out iPhones, when you're pricing out Mac computers, MacBooks, and so on, consider that you do have a high resale value, so you can recoup at least some of your money, and not insignificant either. Like I said, I have a 4-year-old. And I'm pretty sure I could sell it fairly easily for $800-900, even $1,000. All right, that's it. Ciao. So here we are at this Pace magazine. I just did a quick Google search and this came up. And the 5 rumors of the MacBook Pro. If these 5 rumors are true, it will be amazing. Here's a rumor. So here's a screenshot of that LCD screen at the top of the keyboard. So this could, depending on your app that you launched, a different view can be put here. So you could put your music player or maybe Photoshop. They might have customizable Photoshop keys here. Here's another view. This is not the real thing. This is a conceptual view. And it's a guess because they're looking at the new, that other laptop that the Apple put out here. You see this LCD strip. That'd be kind of cool. I would like a touchscreen here, but whatever. And it's just going to be thinner, faster. Here it is again, a view again. So it's going to be thinner, faster, using modern processors, yada, 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 yada. So it should be good. Hopefully better cooling, new Intel chips. And again, these are just conceptual renderings. And given what Mac has done with their latest laptops, is that little mini thing that they came out with. This is probably a pretty good guess what the Pros would look like. And I would buy one. I would definitely buy one, especially if they're up to date with all their specs. Another thing they're looking at doing is putting a finger or thumb sensor, a fingerprint sensor, so you could log in just by putting your fingerprint on something. I don't know where you put it, but I'm sure you'd put it somewhere. Microsoft has an interesting thing. They have a pretty advanced camera, so it can unlock my Windows 10 device using face recognition, and it works in a split second. And at first it was a little shaky, like 8 months ago or whatever it was when I got it, but now it works really well. So finger recognition, kind of cool. Instead of typing in a password, I suppose it's a mild convenience. For me, it's just having a smoother, thinner, faster system, because I have to work with Mac, would be something I would appreciate. So these are not the real thing. These are renderings that people have come up with. Nerds spend their time doing this. And I think it's probably a fairly accurate representation in terms of what the new Mac Pros are going to look like. And there you have it.